Growing up, I can summarize my childhood in one word: loneliness. Even though I grew up in a house filled with siblings, youngest of 7 kids, we never really connected well growing up. I was always kind of pushed aside, or was the snot-nosed little brother that they didn't want to hang around with. So I was very lonely growing up. And it just got progressively worse as we got older. In particular, when we got into our teen years, everybody just kind of did their own thing and went their own way. And I felt this emptiness inside of me. I never had that closeness with my siblings or with my parents that I desired. And so I began to look for something to fill that void elsewhere. A lot of guys from the gang that were in my neighborhood were at this school. So I would just go and started, sitting by a classmate and notice, hey, you live down the street. Oh yeah, hey, what's going on? Woo, start just talking. And then they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so's here too. Oh, and this guy's here, and yeah, they're all hanging out outside. So you want to ditch class and hang out with us? Sure, why not? And the more I hung out with these guys, the more I started thinking, hanging out with them, nobody's going to distinguish me from them if somebody drives by or whatever. So I might as well join them. Eventually, that's what it ended up being. But I guess I can pinpoint my involvement with drugs and gangs to this time frame, around 13, 14 years old. And it all boiled down to a desire to fill a void in my life, that just a loneliness that I had. The loneliness, it never go away. No matter what I tried to replace it with, no matter what I tried to fill my life with, it would never go away. And so, yeah, it's started off just a couple guys hanging out around that 26th Street area, and it became a full-fledged organized crime. We're outside in those cold Chicago winter day, waiting for my ride to come. All of a sudden, a police car comes down, speeding down the street, stops right where we're at. And 2 police officers got out the car. They came up to us, grabbed me, threw me in the car, didn't say anything. This had me sitting there for a little while. About a half hour, maybe an hour passed. A detective walks in and says, "Is your name so-and-so? Is your name?" He asked for, said my street name. I said, "No, that's not me. First rule, lie about everything. That's not me." It's like, "You're lying to me. And like you are, so-and-so." He says, "You know why you're here?" So I told him what the cop told me, questioning some burglary. It's like, "You're lying again. That's not why you're here. You know why you're here." Like, "That's what I was told while I was here." The detective tells me that it wasn't a burglary that I was they wanted to question me about, but it was a murder. And not just murder, but 2 attempted murders. My heart sank to the floor when he said that. I had known people who had gone to jail for murder, and I couldn't believe they were wanting to ask me about these things. I had never even thought about taking somebody's life, not seriously. What had happened was some guys from our gang came, and so there's some land kings who are stuck at an overpass by the 55 overpass over by Pulaski Avenue. And so they came and got about 15 guys together in 3 cars, and they went over to the overpass to see if the guys were still there. Apparently the 3 land kings stayed with their car to protect their vehicle. One guy was shot twice in the back of the head. Another guy, they caught him and hit him with bottles and bats. Third gentleman, in order to avoid a car running him over, jumped off the overpass, landed on some train tracks that were underneath, shattered his ankle, broke his arm, and dragged himself underneath the boxcar. All this information came out during trial. So they wanted to question me about this particular murder. They've been sweeping the neighborhood since August, picking up guys, asking them about different people, whatnot. And there was one guy who, in the 3 months that I went to high school, one of the friendships that I made, one guy, they asked him if I was at the scene. And he said I was there throwing punches. After about 3 days of interrogation, I was charged with murder, 2 attempted murders, and 13 aggravated assaults. I was taken from my home and placed in a jail cell, 6x4, with a guy I've never seen in my life, and we were in that cell 23 out of 24 hours a day. I couldn't believe that I was in jail for murder. It was just unfathomable to me that things had gotten so out of control. And although I hadn't committed the murder, I just felt like my life was just had spiraled so much out of control that there was nothing that I could possibly do to gain it back. So I was playing Russian roulette with this gun and got the bullet to the point where it's in the middle, got a 50-50 chance, and seriously thought about taking my life, but I think the Lord started putting thoughts of my family in my mind. I didn't know him at this time, but he knew me, and he was definitely, he was after me. I decided not to take my life. And I put the gun down, I began to weep. I just cried out for help. I've been having conversations with my parents, and they said, we're working on something to get you bailed out. I didn't know when, I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. But I remember the day that I was released. That morning after breakfast, one of the older guys, he was probably 60 years old, he and I were sitting down talking, and he said, these guys need hope. A lot of the guys that have been here have gone down from where we were to penitentiaries, and morale was low, and these guys need hope. And I remember after lunch, we're just kind of sitting around, and a female officer came and said, Ivan Ramirez, you've been bailed out. I was like, she called my name? It was so surreal to me that I didn't even realize, I hadn't fully I hadn't fully realized what she had just said. And I asked God, did she just say I was released? I said, yeah, man, you're going home. And I just thought, it's just another awesome way that God's been working things out. As I grabbed a few things that I had, I looked back to my friend and said, there's your hope, man.